Hello and Happy New Year's. We are standing here on the beautiful Thyatira grounds. You will see in the background here the back side of the sanctuary. I'm going to take y'all up there a minute and show you around the church. Very beautiful. This is the oldest church in the western half of North Carolina. I'm going to read this to you because it's blurred and you won't be able to see it clearly on the camera. It says, "You are now standing on the grounds of the oldest church of any denomination or institution in the western half of North Carolina that possesses legal documentation for its proof of age. Land grants were made in the area of 1747, and the meeting house that became Thyatira was established shortly thereafter and before 1750. Burials here by 1750, and the first meeting house was located in a vacant section of the old cemetery below Traffic Circle. Earliest surviving markers is John Nesbitt, 1755. Unmarked spaces probably contain burials that were never marked, or the markers have not survived. A collateral ancestor of John Knox, 1513 to 1572, a founder of the Presbyterian Church, and the markers have not survived. He was the founder of the Presbyterian Church in Scotland, plus veterans from all wars, starting with the French and Indian War to the present, are interned in our cemetery. Also, one of the U.S. presidents, 2 vice presidents, and a Civil War surgeon, and a U.S. congressman, and tradition says the cemetery is the final resting place of 4 pirates. You will find many of these burials in the self-guided brochure nearby weatherproof holder. Thyatira's first permanently ordained minister was Samuel McCorkle, I can't pronounce his middle name, a graduate of what became Princeton University, the son of the congregation, the founder of the University of North Carolina. Main quadrangle bears his name. He was the only minister of the 40 original trustees. Thyatira was the only congregation to contribute financially to the university, the first state to open in 1794 in nation. Dr. McCorkle served Thyatira from 1777 to 1805. The present vernacular Gothic revival house of worship, fourth constructed by the congregation and noted for its elaborate brickwork, was completed in 1860 and still contains the original gallery where African Americans worshiped. Some of the original pulpit furniture is still in use today, and the congregation owns the pre-1780 pictures of King George III and Queen Charlotte with writing on the back by the Revolutionary War General Nathaniel Greene. Their Salisbury, North Carolina owner during the American Revolution is interned in our cemetery. Thyatira's global influences over the years is manifested through more than 30 of its sons, daughters, serving ministry missions, and with producing more moderators of the General Assembly in the highest elected office of the Presbyterian Church, USA. Other important historical facts includes a visit of the U.S. President, an African tribal chief, and several General Assembly moderators other than those coming from Thyatira. Wow, this is an interesting place. We're going to go, part 2 of this video will be the cemetery, where I'm going to look for the pirates' graves, and I'm also going to look for President Polk, who was the 11th president of the United States. His grandparents are buried out here in this cemetery. So let's take a walk up the way here. The original meeting house, from what I read on the internet through history, was a log cabin, and then it was replaced with a house that they don't know much about, from my understanding, and then another meeting house was put up. The original meeting house name was Lower Meeting House, and that was in 1753. And then in 1755, it became Kathy's Meeting House. Now, what I found interesting is during the Revolutionary times, churches during this time period in the Americas were not called churches. The only one that could call itself a church was the Episcopal Church. Churches before that were called meeting houses, because when I was first started reading about Thyatira, I was curious as to why they were called meeting houses instead of a church, and so I did my research, and that's what I found out. Now, in 1855 to 1860, or 1858 to 1860, they started building the structure that we see now. And over the years, things have been added. I was reading up front, I believe they have a school here and a few other things. But this is part of the original building, not the original, but the building built in the 1858 to 1860. Beautiful building. I'd love to go inside, but being New Year's Day, it is closed to the public. We may take a peek and see if we can see in the windows. They've got plexiglass covering the windows. Beautiful. You can see parts of the gallery. If you look up there, you'll see the white board through that window. That is part of the original gallery that we read about a minute ago. Such history. I was researching pirates in the area. My sister loves pirates, and I thought I'd try to find some pirate graves to see if I could find some for her, and that's how I found Thyatira Church. Now, the church got its name from Acts, the book of Acts, and the book of Revelation, speaking of one of the 7 churches in Asia. And then Lydia talked about in the book of Acts, she was from Thyatira. Beautiful, beautiful building. Let's see what the cornerstones up here say. Thyatira Presbyterian Church at Millbridge, placed on the National Register of Historic Places by the United States Department of Interior in 1984. And over here we have the church office. Man, I wish there was somebody here today. It was quite a little bit of a skip, hop, and a jump from my house. I've spent 3.5 hours driving this morning to get here, but it was worth the drive so far. Beautiful. They have a preschool and a Sunday school here. This was established in 1948, religious education building. And playground for the little ones. And we got one more building down here. Let's see what this sign says. It is gated and locked. Oh, this is a museum. Thyatira Presbyterian Heritage Museum, dedicated to the glory of God. Lockheed, I believe is the name on that. Lockheed and Pauline Neal, 1980. So if today would have been open, we'd have been able to see the picture that of King George III and Queen Charlotte that the plaque that I read you coming in was telling us about. I will have to make another trip in the future to see that, because that's almost priceless right there. And then we have another building down in there. When I get to that, let's see what that is while we're over here. Beautiful, quiet area. This is the back side of the building. Didn't quite know what to expect when I came out here. I saw some pictures of it on the internet, but I'm going to tell you, the internet does not do it justice. I hear some roosters crowing in the background. I don't know if the speaker will pick them up. Another beautiful building here. I love the brick. I was kind of expecting to be more coastal because I'm not too far from Charlotte, but it's actually foothills. This is a resource center. Please check in with the church office before delivery. So this must be where they bring in their deliveries and all. I saw some decoration on the front of the building here. I'm going to go around and see what it is. But I thought, what a beautiful way to start out the first of the year by taking a dive into history. Oh, I love it. Beautiful little area here. And the front of this says, 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. Beautiful. Looks like that might have one time been a door. But I love the way they done that. We're going to make our way back up to the church. I am going to be doing some different areas in this, starting out this new year. I have had a request for some pirate. I don't think about the fact that the Carolinas was part of some of the pirate runs, and some well-known pirates are buried in the North Carolina area. Blackbeard being one, and John Lafitte, another one. So in the future, I'm hoping to be able to go to both of those sites. Stay tuned for when I do the cemetery on the next video, because the 4 pirates that are buried out here have a very interesting story that I'm going to share with you. Once again, this is the Thyatira Presbyterian Church, the documented oldest church in western North Carolina, going back to the early 1700s. So like, subscribe, hit that notification bell below, share with a friend, and we'll see you again on part 2 of the Thyatira history. This is Uniquely Cindy, and you have a great and unique January the 1st.